All right, so my topic for this week's show, as some of you know, on the land of Twitter and now through PW Insider and other multiple sources, we had a mini Black Wednesday / Thursday yesterday afternoon with the talent of NXT. I know that they said that it was a budget restriction and things like that. So we've lost a couple members of the roster and of the referee staff. I'm going to start off with one that surprised me, and that is Jesmyn Duke.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that me and Joe talked. We weren't going to do this long form, but I wanted to bring her up specifically because she has been part of the NXT and then now in the up, down, down stuff with Austin Creed and all the video games and stuff like that. I know she has her own show with Dakota Kai, Mia Yim, and Shayna because they're all roommates, or they were roommates until Mia got engaged to Keith Lee.
Right.
Jesmyn came out earlier today on her specific Twitch channel and said, though she is no longer an active talent for WWE, that she is going to stay on up, down, down, which has not happened with anybody else yet. Samoa Joe was a mainstay on there, and Joe hasn't been back since his release, and I don't think he's coming back. I think the thing is Duke herself didn't want to really train anymore and wanted to get more into like the creating content. And
well, because let's be honest, she never really got off in wrestling. Like she never. That sounded weird. That was a horrible way to say that. She never really like got off the ground. Is what I meant. Yeah. In wrestling, it's like the potential was there, and obviously she was part of the 4 MMA horsewomen and stuff. But then Ronda wasn't around, and then Shayna got called up. And after that, like they disappeared because there was no role for them right now, and they were so green. Their names could have been Chelsea. So they just never really got off the ground. So I'm not surprised in that regard that I could see her being like, this ain't working for me.
Yeah, but I think it's a big thing though because it came out today that and Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, whatever you want to call him, came out and said WWE owns up, down, down.
Yeah.
Obviously, he probably owns some percentage of it, but that's why WWE lets him, Cesaro, Breezy, and Cole play Uno, which spawned Adam Cole and the Bebes. And yeah. So that
which was a WWE made T-shirt. Remember when I noticed that when you gave it to me, and I was like, this has I took it off obviously, but it had the sticker. Authentic WWE sticker on it and stuff, and I was like, that's kind of surprising, and that should have been our first kind of indication that this we should have. We did not Inspector Gadget that one. We kind of failed at that one.
No, so it's nice to know that if obviously Joe's gonna go wrestle somewhere else, which is probably why Joe isn't coming back to up, down, down. But it's nice to see that that door is open.
Right.
Other releases include Jake Clemons, a official that was part of the Evolve roster when WWE absorbed Evolve. He also refed in AIW in Cleveland. He's already been announced as coming back to ref for them in the distant future. Brandy Lauren, aka Skylar Story, she was also in Evolve. She was the manager of Anthony Garagone. So she's back on the indie scenes. Drake Wuritz, whatever the fuck you want to call him. See you, bye. I'm not even gonna fucking give him the time of day.
Was he the QAnon guy?
Yes.
Yep.
Let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
To quote the great Kent Murphy, gone forever, Aaron Hernandez.
Yep.
Wow.
We also lost international superstar Kavita Devi. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry. That's probably really bad. We saw her on a dark match at Full Sail.
Okay.
She was the taller Indian girl. I know it's hard to remember when those marathon tapings were, where they used to tape 5 fucking weeks at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, she was in one of those tapings. We saw her once or twice. She was in the Mae Young Classic and lost in the first round, the second Mae Young Classic. We also lost Vanessa Bourne, who was she was started called up to the main roster, but then not called up to the main roster. It was very confusing. We lost another. I don't know the guy's name. Unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me because I'm on my phone recording. It was like a Eddie Aziza or something like. I don't. Again, I'm worse with names.
The most obvious one that again like gets the Drake Younger treatment. We ain't gonna say shit about him other than he gone. Velveteen Dream.
Boy, bye. For Aaron Hernandez treatment too. Gone forever.
I'm really curious what's going so long, number one. Because this stuff about accusations and stuff that was over a year ago, right? It was over a year ago.
I really think that they were holding on to hope that maybe it would just blow over and nobody would like pay attention to it anymore. And it's just not. That's not the world that we live in anymore. I feel like that was the world 20 years ago. Where like
they were also in a,
but it was proven it was him, right? In those pictures, right?
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Right, I'm saying. I didn't follow in detail. I heard about it, but I wasn't sure if that was.
I don't think anybody is confirmed nor denied or done anything to get anybody off the hook here. I think the real reason why he wasn't released was
the pandemic.
They were fucking trying to make sure that they could get a fucking wrestling show out to people.
Yeah.
And the last thing they really worried about was who was fucking getting a check from them. They just kind of said, fuck it, you guys can get paid, and I don't really give a fuck.
Apparently, he hadn't wrestled in all of, like, 2021 even.
I've seen him, the last few that I saw him in was with Adam Cole late last year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point. They probably were literally just like, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to let it go. We're going to fucking let it breathe, and then it just cut him.
At this point, he's getting Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 37 heat. Like, if he ever tried to come out again.
The one release that surprises me, and this is going to transition to my actual topic for tonight, is Alexander Wolff. The now former member of Imperium. He was jumped after his loss on Tuesday night. Kind of wonder, like, if he knew that, like, if they told him, hey, you know,
right,
we'll let you go after, you know, tonight, your contract's up, we're not going to renew it, stuff like that. So my topic here, obviously, we're going to talk about what's next for the Black and Gold brand. I bring it to the table here tonight. How would you improve the NXT brand? Who would you move from NXT to Raw or SmackDown? Who would you bring down from Raw or SmackDown to maybe give more time to, or more of a characteristic build, or a feud? And how would you improve the NXT roster? They're not going up against AEW anymore. They're only going up against themselves, and that's okay. Now, here's the question. How do you get them back to the numbers that they were doing before AEW existed? How do you get to the next level? I'll let you guys start, and then I'll chime in with mine at the end, or as
I'll go quick. So you guys, I'll go. If you go quick, because mine would be short. I'm sure you guys have more time to elaborate on this. So, like, to me, in the NXT roster, there's only really one guy that really is, in my opinion, main roster ready or looks like a main roster guy. And we discussed it last week. It's Karrion Kross. He be one guy move up to the main roster. Now, I'm more intrigued about what you can do with who can you bring down to help the NXT brand, honestly. And that's where it gets more interesting. And I think we all identified that we are now past that point with NXT that they're not a developmental brand anymore. They are more than that.
So, wait. I'm going to disagree with you on this one ground. It's going off the stuff I read on Twitter and stuff.
Okay.
They don't get paid the way the guys on Raw and SmackDown get paid. And until that gets actually fixed, I think they are still a developmental brand.
Okay, but they obviously they mean more than they did, say, 5 years ago. Would you agree with that?
Doesn't say so.
Okay.
I think Vince will never see NXT as more of a developmental brand, because he's got to get those guys to Raw and SmackDown to replace the Randy Ortons, and the Triple H's, and the Rocks of the world.
So the pay scale dictates that.
I think the pay scale dictates that, and I think that's the thing where, Johnny Gargano could be an NXT lifer. Johnny Gargano probably doesn't want to be an NXT lifer because Johnny Gargano would like to make more money. I can't speak for Johnny.
Very true.
I love Johnny to death. I'd love to see him on Raw or SmackDown. But if he could go and stay in the title picture in NXT and not wash away in the mid card, a la Alexander, Cedric, then, stay in NXT for another 2 years until Randy Orton's ready to retire.
Right.
I mean, Tommaso Ciampa would be another guy, but he feels like, I don't know. I feel like he gets called up to the main roster, he'll get lost, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like he'd get, like, the Aleister Black level of,
and that
lost in... Right.
Yeah. And that goes to my, as you said, I think the most interesting part is more so who can you get from the main roster to help out the, NXT, the yellow brand. I mean, obviously we've seen Finn Balor come back a year and a half ago, and he's been pretty good. But in my opinion, there's two guys to look at. Now one is now actually active again for the first time in almost a year. Aleister Black, I think he'd help.
Yeah.
I also think, and this is something I would say as far back as last year, even before the pandemic, Kevin Owens. He's a guy that's fucking like great feud at Roman, and then he did the same Zayn thing, which is cool, but I mean, he's not doing anything significant in terms of the top of the card. You put him in the yellow. But put it this way, I will definitely you're guaranteed to get my eyeballs to watch NXT every week religiously, and probably live if Kevin Owens is on the yellow brand.
Right.
So to me, the two guys I look at that are main roster guys that can put more eyeballs to NXT, Aleister Black is definitely one, and then Kevin Owens will be the other one.
Those are interesting choices. Actually, I can see your reasoning behind those. What I'd say is, number one, if from moving off of NXT, I think Ciampa. I think Ciampa's done everything he can do in the territory. You know, if this was Ring of Honor, it'd be like, okay, Samoa Joe, it's time to go. You know, you've done everything you can here. We're good on you. I love Ciampa. Ciampa had the best match of the weekend, WrestleMania, or the week, you know, against Walter. Who's another guy who, and Walter doesn't need to be on one of the main rosters, but I'm telling you, when Walter ends up on one of the main rosters, preferably SmackDown, he's going to become one of the biggest stars this company has. So,
I'm just glad they were able to talk him into coming over to America.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, now that he's here, it's like, okay, I love him on NXT. I love him as the NXT UK champion. He's great. He's ready. He's got the size. He's got the talent. He's one of the most unique in-ring talents.
He's done with NXT UK, right? He's done with NXT UK, or is he doing both?
He's still champion for NXT UK. So I mean, obviously not done with them, but that's not something that's not like you can't change that.
Right.
And
I think that's coming. I think that's coming very soon.
Yeah, and I would love that. I think Balor's ready to go back to Raw or SmackDown.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I love Balor, but I think that he's again done. Like, he had already done everything he could, and then was gone. And him coming back was a nice thing. It gave NXT a real boost. He's done everything he can in that regard at this point. He had that great title run. It's over. I'd like to see him show up on SmackDown. Maybe become someone who can challenge Roman Reigns for the belt. Well, honestly, he's a perfect little feud for Roman Reigns, during this year. If you're playing the long game where Roman ends up, still being champion all the way at WrestleMania next year, Mike, I know that's going to drive you crazy, and I know at every pay-per-view you're going to reason out why someone should beat him.
And I want it.
Wait till you do it for Finn Balor, because I think Finn Balor would be the perfect person for him to have like a month or two feud with, like the way he's just did with Cesaro, which honestly, I know we're not talking about Backlash, and I know that you didn't love the result of that match, but the match itself was fantastic, I think.
The Swiss guy should have won.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but the match itself, other than the result, was fantastic. It was an excellent match. And I think you can get more stuff like that out of guys if you give Roman the right guys. Obviously, he could do it with Cesaro. He's done it with Daniel Bryan. He did it with Edge. So I think you give him Finn Balor and you get another one of those matches, and I would be excited for that.
He's literally going to run through every member of the mid-card division that stands under 6'2" by the time we get to WrestleMania next year.
Yes, I can see that. I'm not okay with it. But and I'm gonna, not to go too into it, but like to say what Ernest said also, Karrion Kross. I think we've said it before. He feels like one of those gimmicks that is going to work so much better on the main roster than it does in NXT. I'm not behind it. I don't love it. Put him on Raw. Put him on SmackDown. I think you get him in a different thing. It's almost like Elias, where it's just like, you're not right for the vibe of NXT, but you're right for something. So, let's get you over there and see what happens. So I'd love to see him show up on Raw or SmackDown and do something with that. In terms of people that I would send down to NXT or to NXT, however you want to word it. First of all, I don't want this because I don't want to actually have to watch him on NXT, but I think he needs to be in NXT for his own sake, especially if he's going to actually be a superstar one day. Dominic fucking Mysterio. I'm sorry. First of all, needs to get the I look. He's clearly a good kid. He clearly has a great heart. He has raw talent there. He's got the ability to do some basic stuff, but he's not doing anything more impressive than anyone in NXT is doing right now. And the only reason why he's on SmackDown right now, and the only reason why he's tag team champion right now, is because his dad is there also. And that's not enough for me. Like, you know what? Nick was also tag team champion at one point, and he was fucking 10 years old. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting out of this. That's not doing anybody any favors. If you want Dominic to actually be a future superstar, you get him down to NXT. Get him in the Performance Center. Get him hitting the gym, because I'm sorry, but you got to build some muscle. And I'm not, like, I'm in better shape than Dominic Mysterio.
By the way, what a shitty frog splash last week.
Huh?
The frog splash. What a shitty frog splash.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but he's got raw talent.
Yeah,
you can see that he has the ability that if someone just takes him under their wing, other than his dad, but someone like one of the trainers in NXT, maybe I don't know who's out there training in NXT right now. I don't know who their trainers are, who their
Matt Bloom.
Huh?
Matt Bloom. Sarah Del Rey.
Right. Imagine Sarah Del Rey getting her hands on someone with as much raw talent as Dominic has and actually having 6 months to a year to just develop him, get him in the gym, get him built, get him looking like a wrestler, get him looking like right now, like you make the joke about Sting and Darby Allin, like bring your son to work day. That's literally what Dominic and Ray are. It's bring your son to work day and oops, he won the tag team title. Like, that's what's going on. So get him down to NXT, develop him more. I think you'd actually have potential. And hell, if you want to make this the move, send Ray with him. Ray doesn't need to be on SmackDown. Ray doesn't need to be on Raw. I'm sure Ray's going to end up being one of these guys that gets fed to Roman at some point.
It wouldn't be a big loss either, too. Not to be insulting, but it wouldn't be a big loss because, you know.
No, he wouldn't be a loss to the main roster, and he would be a boost to NXT. Because all of a sudden, he's a veteran. He's a genuine veteran who can still go in the ring. You put him in. Tell me you don't want to see Rey Mysterio versus Johnny Gargano. Tell me you don't want to see Rey Mysterio versus. I don't know. Just name somebody else. You don't really want to see Johnny Gargano, do you, Mike?
No, actually, I would love a Johnny Gargano Rey Mysterio feud.
That's right. Like, there's so many guys that you can put him in there one-on-one, or hell, just put him and Dominic in the tag division. You know, help rebuild their tag division. That could still be fun. All I'm saying is Rey Mysterio, first of all, talk about adding ratings to NXT. I feel like he does actually still draw. He was name referenced in a fucking Little Uzi song once. I mean, he obviously is like mainstream in a way. So I think you have a chance where like you bring him over and you're giving Dominic a chance to develop and you're giving NXT a big name in Rey Mysterio. So I'd send the two of them down there. I think that would make a lot of sense. Wow, that ended up working out a lot better than I did because my original thought process was, I don't know, Dominic needs like more muscles, so just send him there. But now I'm getting NXT more ratings with this, so this works out.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yes, exactly. 2 girls, 1 cup, exactly. Mike, but yeah, who would you say?
All right, the first names that I would move up and my reasonings behind them. First off, you guys have mentioned him before. I'll chime in as well. It's Karrion Kross.
Yeah,
I like Karrion Kross, but his entrance alone would be so much better in a place full of people.
Yeah.
So he's the first one, and he's done a lot in NXT. He's lost the title because of an injury. I don't think he's lost a match.
No, he has not.
He's undefeated, really. Yeah. Other than to injury. Other than to vacant.
Yeah, vacant's 1-0 against him.
Yes.
I would also move up Tommaso. I would also move Tommaso Ciampa up.
Don't laugh at that. Vacant's the current New Japan IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
That gets around.
I would move Ciampa up. I think it's time for him to go to SmackDown. I think he'd be a nice little addition to the IC title picture or the US title picture.
See that?
I could see him and like Sami Zayn having a hell of a feud with.
Yeah, I could too. Nice little mid-tier, mid-card level, you know, guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously the name that's been rumored, Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he anyways?
I think he's just taking.
They're letting it breathe.
They're letting it breathe, man. I would probably, and this one's not going to be a surprise to anyone. I would call up Io Shirai. I'd put her on either of the women's rosters.
Yeah.
I assumed the women's title that she'd end up on Raw or SmackDown.
Me too.
And instead, we're just getting Asuka and Charlotte and Rhea 37.
That's kind of why I would say now is really the time for her.
Yeah.
Now, some names that I would move down, and the reasonings why I would move them down.
Okay.
Revert back real quick. Tommaso Ciampa. I would move Ciampa up also to get him away from Timothy Thatcher because I want Timothy Thatcher to join Imperium.
Yeah.
I want the original Imperium back.
They have an opening.
I want ring camp. I like Eichner, Thatcher, Barthel, Walter. Give me ring camp back.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine. That's how you do it. But you don't do it by them turning on each other. Ciampa and Thatcher have gotten to that point where it's like I'd almost Ciampa rather just be like, you do your thing, I'm gonna go do mine. Respect.
Right.
And then Ciampa go to that, and then the next week have Thatcher join Imperium.
Right.
And go back to being a heel and whatever. Names I would move down. First off, number 1, women's division. I'm gonna go right to it. Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose.
Can we just move them off of like the company and not
Nope.
Mandy? I love Mandy, but Dana's
Nope.
I don't get Dana.
I think that this is the perfect chance for them.
Okay.
The NXT women's tag team division does not have tag teams. This is a chance to get them work.
True.
A chance to get them better in the ring. They're not getting better in ring because we've mentioned it. The Raw women's division is Rhea, Charlotte, and Asuka.
Right.
You can't get better if you don't have ring time. How do you get ring time? By going to a place that's going to be open and available for you to get ring time. I think the two of them could be good. I'm not going to say they're going to have 5-star matches. They're not going to be great. But they are that mid-card of the women's division. The women's division does not have.
Right.
How do you get them to that point? By giving them TV time, by giving them 8 to 10 minutes every other week and let them fucking develop. It's the way you have to do it, unfortunately. And it's no offense to those two girls, because those two girls are putting in their fucking work. I can't say anything negative about them. They're trying their asses off. But the problem is they're not getting the ability to get over because they're not getting any TV time, which hurts them in the long run. Second off, another name I would move down. This one is going to sound very interesting. Another person from the women's division that I think would be a fun addition to the NXT division. I would move Naomi down.
I can see that.
I like that.
I mean, they're not doing anything with her, really.
Yeah.
Her and Lana as a tag team. That doesn't do anything for me.
Nope. And
the thing is, like, Naomi's one of those people, and I feel like this happens with the women a lot more than the men. They get stuck in the same gimmick for all time at a certain
Feel the glow for the last fucking 9 years.
Right. Like, that was exciting when she started doing it a decade ago, and she was, like, one of the first, like, women's champions on SmackDown and stuff. But at this point, it's been there, done that. And the thing is, her talent is still there. She's still great in the ring. I bet you give her a different character. First of all, I bet she could run with it. I feel like she's that level of talent where you give her something to do and she could make it work. And it would be a fucking, like, she could become one of the biggest women stars that they have by just a simple gimmick
They should have put it into her business.
That's like sending her to NXT.
They should have put it into her business when it was still a thing, but, you know.
I mean, they could just put her with her husband, and she could be the female member of the bloodline.
Either.
Nah, she's got to acknowledge Roman as the head of the table, and that's too much head going on for you to be okay with that.
Jeez.
I'll walk in like, no.
Number 3 of the names I would move down. This one, I'm surprised that neither of you mentioned it, and I think that this is one where WWE would have to look up and say, "We fucked up. We fucked up." Put Keith Lee back on NXT.
Are you gonna say that? Shit.
You know, the only reason why that didn't even occur to me is because I just want him to be back on TV. Period. I don't know where he's at right now. If it's injury,
it was supposedly it was injury to start. Now he's been cleared and it's creative, just kind of throwing their hands up.
That's ridiculous. Then yeah, no. If they don't have, if they quote unquote don't have anything for him, we do. Right? Like put him on NXT.
Fucked up. Put him back on NXT. Wear that one. We fucked up. Put him back on NXT.
I mean, he can go right into the world title picture. He never got a real world title run.
Yeah,
he won the belt, and then that was it.
Yep, because the ratings were so big for that match that was like, we got to put him on the main roster. No, you need to leave him on fucking NXT and let him fucking be the champion for the next 6 months and not hotshot to carry across. But I digress.
Right.
Like I said, I think if the pandemic didn't happen, that wouldn't happen so soon, honestly.
The other name that I've been going back and forth on all day. Obviously, we've talked since Daniel Bryan has been exiled from SmackDown. We'd love to see Bryan there if he decides to come.
Yeah.
Wrestle full time again. The other name that I've just kind of, and it's kind of in the Mandy Rose Dana Brooke collection here, and it's a guy that I think could go be in the North American title picture tomorrow if they would pull the trigger on it. That is none other than former member of the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander.
I can see that. I don't know. I don't know what you do with Cedric. He used to be one of my favorites. I loved him in ROH and stuff like that, where they also wasted him. And I was very excited when he was part of Hurt Business. I was very excited that they ruined that so badly. Kicking out Shelton and Cedric for no good reason. And, like, they had a chance to even just kind of undo it, and we all would have been okay with it because it would have given us back the best stable of the last, like, decade. That wasn't, the New Day or the Shield or like the best new stable of the last like 2 years to come out in WWE. And you killed it after 6 months for no good reason. And then because you're a stubborn ass old man who doesn't like to admit that you're wrong sometimes, you kept it killed. And you were just like, throw T-Bar at it instead. So I just no, honestly, I don't know what they can do with Cedric to fix him right now, but it's sad because he deserves a lot better.
Honestly, I would let him go be a face. I'd let him fight Adam Cole. I'd let him fight Kyle O'Reilly. I'd let him go put on good matches with Bobby Fish. And
he really got an NXT run because he was a 205 Live guy.
Exactly. It's fresh. He'd have some feuds
he
could go right into. And the last name that I've really sunk my teeth into, and this one is because of an unfortunate situation. Sunday night, Miz blows his knee out.
Oh yeah. Well,
6 to 9 months.
It was zombies. They ate his knee.
Oh.
ACL.
Yeah.
Personally, the last person that I would move to the NXT brand is Johnny. Insert name here. Drip drip. NXT, Impact, Mundo, Underground, MLW, Friday Night Delight.
Wait, I'm okay with this, but he has to feud with Johnny Gargano for the rights to the name Johnny Wrestling.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in. There's just so much that John Morrison could do on the NXT brand. Him versus Adam Cole in a feud who has the better hair.
Right.
Yes. Him versus Kyle O'Reilly. Who could be the sleaziest?
And isn't his wife on NXT?
She debuts in ring next week.
So it writes itself at that point.
With John Morrison?
Yeah, he's married to what's her name?
Frankie Monet.
Oh, that's right. Oh, wow, they're married. Okay.
The former Taya Valkyrie, for those of you that don't know that she changed her name to Frankie Monet. Oh, I was sick saying that. I just think that there's tweaks that you could do to the NXT roster right now that could just here's the next step. Here's how they get better. You're going to lose Karrion Kross. You may lose Finn Balor. But you just got 3 workhorses in Morrison and Alexander and Bryan if Bryan decides to come back. Okay, so we just got 3 guys that could really go in ring that could feud with Cole, O'Reilly, Fish, Gargano, Theory, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes. Okay, cool. Because now you don't have to let John Morrison win a single fucking feud, but you could have him feud with Cole and Gargano and all of them. You could have Cedric lose to O'Reilly and Fish and Cameron Grimes and Bronson Reed. You could have Bryan go into a title feud with whoever gets the belt from Karrion Kross. Tell me right now, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, NXT TakeOver, Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, NXT World Title match. You're not fucking sitting here telling me, oh my God, this may be one of the greatest fucking wrestling matches we ever see in our lives.
Yeah, for real. Well, I don't know. Not without thigh slaps.
Figure it out. I mean, I'm flat out telling you right now that here's your chance. Obviously, I don't think that they're going to do an NXT TakeOver show at Money in the Bank because they're doing one, I guess, soon.
Right, and in your house, right?
Yeah. So, but I think SummerSlam weekend, you're wholeheartedly getting NXT, SummerSlam, Saturday night, Sunday night.
I agree.
From what is being leaked out by social media as fabulous Las Vegas.
It'll be hot. That's for sure.
Go for it, though. Don't sit here and go, well, we have a shot to do this. Go do it.
Right.
Make it better.